Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, new listeners and current listeners from all around the world, including Canada, the USA, regions of Long Island, and areas of the five boroughs of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your host with the most, G Money Stacks, aka Lonely Nomad, aka The Gregonator, aka Rookie Podcaster of New York, and also Rookie Podcaster of Queens, New York. And you are now tuning into Off the Meatrack Chainz NY Podcast, New York Podcast, episode 37. That's Off the Meatrack Chainz and New York Podcast at 37 to be exact. So, now, if you are new to the channel and you missed any previous episodes, don't worry, I got you. All you gotta do is subscribe to the YouTube channel, G Money Stacks 555. Be sure to enable alerts so you could, along with tapping on the notification bell, so you could be reminded of when the show goes on the air live. Like, comment on the episodes. Also, don't forget to download. Don't forget to share the show with your friends, along with the audio streaming platforms, which I will go over at the end of the show. So here we go. Also, if you like to be a guest, whether you are a rapper, singer, DJ, music producer, video director, radio personality, podcast host like myself, a black-owned trendsetter that has a business, and if you need advice on anything from a chain letter that you like to have read on air, all you gotta do is go here. Off the Meatrack Chainz NY Podcast at gmail.com. That's Off the Meatrack Chainz NY Podcast at gmail.com. Now, I'm actually going to be the one holding the fort. Unfortunately, half of my co-host is not here. So I'm just going to be the person to hold it down. So here we go. Let's go to our first segment, which is called our first segment of today is chatting all the jazz. And basically, chatting all the jazz is basically about the topics that catches our interest each week that we cover. And also, let's give a round of applause for a milestone of 37 episodes being in the books, shall we? Of course, I like to do this. Now that's for chatting on the jazz and stuff. So just bear with me here. Our first topic of the day has to do with a woman in Jacksonville. So a woman in Jacksonville decides to do something very stupid, which I'm glad I caught this on the Breakfast Club's Donkey of the Day. Regarding this woman who decides to rob a bank. And I've seen movies when it comes to people robbing banks, and they usually have getaway cars. But in this story that I'm about to talk about, has to do with a woman who didn't have a car, but decides to but decides to do it with a wheelchair. A wheelchair, out of all things, is not considered a getaway vehicle. That is not a getaway car. That is like the slowest motorist electric wheelchair that she could actually think of. Let's go to the story, shall we? All right. So, according to MSN.com, article goes like this. When you think of a getaway vehicle, action-packed heist and fast cars likely come to mind. But a Jacksonville woman had a different idea entirely recently after police say she robbed a Regions Bank downtown and fled in an electric wheelchair. According to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, the woman at the center of the headline grabbing crime is Kenyatta Gordon. In a newly obtained report Tuesday, police say Gordon, age 39, entered Regions Bank on West Bay Street and asked a teller to assist her in adding overdraft protection to her account. After the teller completed the request, Gordon then asked to withdraw money, to which she was told the transaction could not be completed. That is when officers say Gordon became agitated, screaming profanities at the teller and demanding money. The teller provided $100 to the suspect, who then fled from the building in her wheelchair. After receiving identifying information from Regions Bank, officers located Gordon in the 300 block of First Street West, wearing the same clothing and using the same wheelchair as in the robbery. In addition to the stolen cash, a crack pipe was also found on Gordon at the time of her arrest, according to a report. Gordon is charged with strong arm robbery and possession with intent to use drug paraphernalia. Yes. A short time after the incident, a patrol car located the suspect near East First Street and North Liberty Street, where she was taken into custody without incident. Early this morning, around 11:50 a.m., Jacksonville Sheriff's Office responded to a bank robbery on Bay Street and Laura Street. Officers are looking for an adult female, 39 years of age, with short blonde hair. JSO said she came into the bank to talk about an account she has, and while she was there, became upset and threatened the teller. She uses an electric wheelchair, which is the dumbest thing that I ever heard in my life. Wow. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. To get around, and was last seen wearing a silver and black face mask. Oh, man. She has a red blanket wrapped around her legs and a red purse. At this time, the woman does not appear to have a weapon and went north on Laura Street. She got away with cash and no one was hurt. Okay. My thoughts on this. This is like the dumbest, stupidest thing that I ever heard in my life. So you mean to tell me you couldn't find a getaway car? Instead, you decide to use a fucking electric wheelchair, which is not faster than a car, by the way. That's crazy to me. That's very crazy to me, man. Sorry, but this is the dumbest story that I ever heard in my life. Now, I've watched a lot of bank heist movies and stuff. Like, Like you have bank heist movies like Takers, The Town. You don't see them using a wheelchair in the movie because that's not fast enough. That's not a if you're gonna do something like that, whether it's for a role of a movie and stuff like that, be sure you have a getaway car. And I'm gonna wrap this topic up with a different topic. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. So there has been a discrimination against vaccinated people at camp, which I can't really understand why. So this is just oh my gosh, why? Why, man? Why do you have to use discrimination against people who are vaccinated? What is wrong with vaccinated people out of all things? And I'm just going to say this is like another. Let me just read the article here. So, according to mytwintears.com, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has proposed legislation aimed at stopping discrimination against those vaccinated against COVID-19. And he said, in quote, "We can't be in a situation where we were full-throated encouraging people to get a vaccine and then have people saying, if you get the vaccine, you can't participate in this activity." The governor referenced a report in the Jewish Telegraphic Agency and other media outlets of the Sullivan County summer camp for Orthodox Jewish boys, Camp Haikon, who said they would not accept any campers or staff who had been vaccinated for COVID-19. Dr. Fauci, masks may be seasonal after the pandemic. I understand the anti-vaccine argument, he said, in quote, "In my opinion, there's no science to it. There's no science to it. You can have a theory, you can have a belief, but you can't use that to make public policy without science and without data." The governor did not lay out any timeline for when legislation could be presented to state legislatures. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor supported legislation that prevented discrimination against those who wore a mask. New York's mask mandate has been in place since April 17, 2020. Discrimination relating to the coronavirus under the New York State Human Rights Law. And it goes like this. Public places such as hotels, restaurants, transportation, services, and retail stores cannot deny you entry or access to goods or services based on a perception that your national origin, race, or disability indicates possible exposure to the coronavirus. Your employer cannot fire you, send you home, or tell you not to come to work because they think you may have been exposed to the coronavirus based solely on your race, national origin, or disability. It is an unlawful discriminatory practice to terminate an employee or prevent them from working based on speculation that the employee's race, national origin, or disability indicates possible exposure to the coronavirus. If your employer terminates you or sends you home based on what is later found to be a discriminatory policy, your employer could be responsible for your missed wage. If you are wearing a mask as a precaution, you are still protected against discrimination. The HRL prohibits discrimination based on a perceived connection between race, national origin, or disability and possible exposure to the coronavirus. Wearing a face mask does not change this. If you have been harassed or threatened because someone thinks you have the coronavirus, call 911 and contact law enforcement to report the incident immediately. Threats and harassment based on race, national origin may be considered hate crimes. You may bring this to the attention of the New York State Hate Crimes Task Force by calling 1-888-392-3644. That's 1-888-392-3644. The New York State Division of Human Rights says those who feel as if they've been discriminated against due to COVID-19 can contact Human Rights Law at 1-888 excuse me, I just read that. On Monday, the governor also reported that the New York's COVID-19 positivity rate is 1.43% and that 16,826,479 total doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have been administered statewide. The governor also announced that all SUNY and CUNY students will need to be vaccinated to attend in-person classes this fall. Okay. Well, I am a little torn. About this, actually. I mean, at first I thought this was supposed to be a personal choice for people to get vaccinated. But to actually implicate that into schools, like colleges and high schools and stuff, I mean, I don't know if that's going to really solve anything, but I highly doubt that that's going to really solve anything, but it's going to make people feel away. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to do this. I mean, your intentions are in the right place, but at the same token, you got to understand people's personal decisions and personal choices and whatnot. I do like the idea that he wants to put something into place to stop the discrimination as far as people who get vaccinated, which has gone too far, which I can attest to that. But at the same token, like I said, I don't people are gonna feel away. But at the same time, you can't please everybody. And basically that's just my take on it, though. You know what I mean? If you want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. If you don't, you don't, and that's on you. So let's move on to the next topic. According to newsbreak.com, this is basically talking about the high accident rates to basically decrease speed reduction, because as you can see, there's been some accidents relating to cars hitting pedestrians. So let's read this. So according to the news break, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio announced recently that 6 Queens roads with high crash rates will have their speed limits reduced in an attempt to improve street safety. The streets, which total 25.7 miles, will each have their speed limits reduced by 5 miles per hour. The speed reduction coincides with a week-long New York Police Department traffic enforcement crackdown. From May 10th to May 16th, the NYPD will deploy additional traffic patrol units with a focus on areas with a high rate of pedestrian and cyclist injuries, telling drivers to slow down and working closely with the NYPD to hold dangerous drivers accountable will save lives and make our city safer, said de Blasio in a press release. Roads that will be subject to the speed limit reduction include Woodhaven Boulevard from Queens Boulevard to Rockaway Boulevard, 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. Cross Bay Boulevard from Rockaway Boulevard to the Cross Bay North Boulevard Bridge, 30 to 40 miles per hour to 25 to 35 miles per hour. Van Wyck Service Road, east to west from 135th Avenue to Queens Boulevard, 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. Astoria Boulevard from 111th Street to 8th Street, 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. South Conduit Avenue from Sutter Avenue to Sunrise Highway, 35 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour. North Conduit Avenue from Sutter Avenue to Sunrise Highway, 35 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour. All right. Okay. My whole take on this has to do with, okay. Now, I do get the idea that you want to reduce speeds of cars, but you have careless drivers who don't really care about pedestrians crossing the street. Like I seen this a couple of times when I'm crossing the street by Old Country Road to get the N24. You have crazy drivers that will run the red light with no single care in the world. And that's why I take my time to cross the street, because I don't want to be the person to get hit. Now, as far as Queens, I find it very interesting that Queens has the highest rate of, like, accidents relating to cars, whether it's like people on bikes, whether it's people on crossing the street. Um it's pretty clear that some action has to be taken. Um I I believe that this has to happen. And speaking of what's gonna happen, let's go to our next topic. Has to do with Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant was officially inducted to um the hall the hold on a second, guys. So Kobe Bryant was officially inducted to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2020 on Saturday night, blah blah blah. So basically Bryant's wife, Vanessa Bryant, I wish my husband was here to accept this incredible award, Bryant's wife, Vanessa Bryant, said at the ceremony as she was joined on stage by basketball legend Michael Jordan. He and Gigi deserve to be here to witness this. Gigi would be so proud to watch her daddy get enshrined into the Basketball Hall of Fame. The NBA legend was posthumously elected into the Hall last April in his final year of eligibility. Just months after Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, and 7 other people were killed in the helicopter crash. There will never be anyone like Kobe, Vanessa Bryant said. Kobe was one of the kind. He was special. He was humble. Off the court, the bigger than life, she concluded. Congratulations, baby. All your hard work and sacrifices paid off. You did it. You are in the Hall of Fame now. You are a true champ. You are not just an MVP. You are an all-time great. I'm so proud of you. I love you forever and always. Um, Among the 9 inducted on Saturday, former Minnesota Timberwolves and Boston Celtics forward Kevin Garnett and San Antonio Spurs forward Tim Duncan, who reminisced on playing against his Hall of Fame classmates Garnett and Bryant. Um, you're you are at your best. When you face the best, Duncan said. I want to say thank you to the late great Kobe Bryant, to KG. You guys demanded the best out of me, and it brought the best out of me. Thank you, guys. So, WNBA's Indiana Fever legend Tamika Catchings was also inducted Saturday. Basketball chose me, Catchings said. An awkward, lanky, introverted tomboy born with a hearing disability, a speech impediment, and a will to overcome obstacles, dream big, and to change the world. We all have dreams and goals, Catching added. And whether you are young or old, born with a disability, or have been told of the things you can't accomplish, tonight I share the same words that my parents shared with me, with a twist. If anyone can do it, you can. Shoot for the stars, work hard, and catch your dream. Among the others inducted were Coach Kim Mulkey, Barbara Stevens, Eddie Sutton, and Rudy Tom Janovich. Switch basketball executive Patrick Blueman was posthumously inducted by the International Committee. One of the industry's hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic was the service industry. Hold on a sec. Um, all right. Across the country, Good Samaritans have been stepping up and supporting their local restaurants in any way they can. Sorry about the cars, folks. I can't do nothing about that. Um, here are a few stories of patrons that are making a difference in their communities, one tip at a time. Um, okay, so that's pretty much let me see. Wait, there's more. Yeah, yeah, this is about it. Let me go to um so this is just about it. Um so the last topic uh has to do with Tim Tebow. Um Now according to the Bleacher report, hold that thought. Oh man. Now, according to the Bleacher Report, Tim Tebow signed a 1 year, $920,000 contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars on Friday, per Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. Per Rappaport, there is no guarantee money in Tebow's deal, which also includes an injury split. The former NFL quarterback, who has not played in a regular season since 2012, will be attempting to make the team as the tight end. Um, Tebow may be a veteran, minimum contract, but the quarterback has made well over 10 million from his professional sports contract, not including any other career earnings for endorsements. His time as an ESPN college football an analyst, and any other opportunities. Tebow cashed in with the Denver Broncos, who selected the 2000 Heisman Trophy winner and two-time NCAA champion 25th overall in the 2010 NFL Draft. Per ESPN, Tebow inked a 5-year, $11.25 million contract, $8.7 million guaranteed. At the time, the contract had a max value of $33 million with bonuses and incentives. Although that figure was never realized, Tebow only played in Denver for 2 years before the Broncos traded him to the New York Jets. Gang Green reported agreed to pay Tim Tebow a $2.53 million salary advance as part of the parameters of the trade. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Jets released Tebow after the season. He landed on New England Patriots and Philadelphia Eagles practice squad in 2013 and 2015, respectively, but did not make the final roster. Tebow soon tried his hand at professional baseball, playing in the New York Mets minor league system from 2017 to 2019. The Mets gave him a 100 million, 100,000 signing bonus when he landed with the team. Now Tebow will be looking to make an improbable NFL comeback, switching positions 9 years after last stepping foot on the field. The 34-year-old is reuniting with ex-Florida and current Jags head coach Urban Meyer. Okay. All right, my take on this thing. Hold that thought. Let me do this. Okay. Know what everybody's thinking. So Tim Tebow gets a 1-year contract while Colin Kaepernick doesn't get it. But here's the thing about that. It's already been 5 years, right? It's been kind of long overdue right now. So it's kind of too late. It's kind of too late it's kind of too late anyway. Yes, he did take a stand for police brutality. That we know that. But then he had people like Jay-Z and the others who try to help him get back in the NFL. I remember an interview that Snoop Dogg did years ago when he was on a show with Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, who basically talked about how he basically said that he couldn't do both. He couldn't do both as far as being an activist and playing football. But well, not too many people really think of this very kindly. But it seems like certain athletes are able to do both. I mean, I don't really see why not. But what Shannon was talking about was the girlfriend um that called the football team organization slave owners. Now, is it really far of a stretch? Yes, it is a bit far of a stretch. Now, even if Colin Kaepernick decides to play again, he's not going to be the same player as he was years ago when he played. Um, and I say this because of the fact that when athletes go through changes as far as age, not just age, but their body goes through changes. I mean, you're gonna have injuries, and you're gonna have like all this other stuff that's gonna happen. I mean, is it cool to say that he has his own his 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 way to be creative? Yeah, I wouldn't mind him being creative on the side, especially if you're making a documentary about yourself, in terms of your story and what you've been through. So depending on which stream platform is going to be, I'm much looking forward into actually checking that out. So we'll see what happens. This is more of a wait and see. Um, so let's see. Let me see if I could cover this one more story. Um, one more story I want to do. One more story I want to do is regarding a water main break in Brooklyn. So let's see. Let's see. Um, so in breaking news, of course, there has been a water main break, sidewalk collapses in Brooklyn. Um, New York City workers responded to a water main break in Brooklyn on Wednesday morning, which is today. Part of the sidewalk on the east side of 4th Avenue near St. Mark's Place on Burn Hill collapsed. Video from Sky Fox shows gushing brown water flooding a part of a roadway, which was shut down in a bar, pizzeria, a dry cleaner, and convenience store. Authorities evacuated several buildings on the block because of flooded basements and a power outage, the FDNY said. The utility companies have been notified, the, the department said. A crew from the Department of Environmental Protection, which manages the city's water supply, was on the scene to investigate the break and stop the water flow. Wow. So this is crazy. This is very, very, very crazy. And never in a million years of me living in New York, I ever even heard of a water main break in one of the 5 boroughs until now. Now, my take on this. What's my take on this, you ask? I would like to actually say that, hopefully they'll be able to do something about this. And this is So there's all right. So I actually let me see. So a drill punctured a 72-inch water main in Brooklyn, of course, flooding the streets and disrupting service. Main rupture around noon sent water gushing all over 4th Avenue and Warren Street in the Borough Hill section. Crews worked for hours to try to stop it, even trying to hang on a minute. Even trying to oh goodness gracious. Even trying to um get into a permanent closed pizza shop hoping to get the source underneath. 5 addresses are affected. The buildings were evacuated. A few business owners said they are dealing flooded basements with about 2 to 4 inches of water. They also don't have power. I'm feeling very I'm feeling very bad. I feel like crying. Building on a Razak um Chowdhury said, "My basement, every place has full water. I have a lot of materials are damaged. I have full water in my basement, no electric, no hot water, no gas in my building. No injuries have been reported. As a result, 4th Avenue is partially closed between Warren Street and St. Mark's Place, and some residents could see little or reduced pressure. Newscopter 7 was over the scene to survey the situation and the damage. The B103 bus, which runs along 4th Avenue, has been rerouted. The Department of Environmental Protection is on the scene and said the initial investigation revealed that the contractor operating the rig that struck the main was hired by a private firm. Currently, there is no boil water alert for area, but there may be disruptions in water as repairs continue. Some may also see discolored tap water, though it's not harmful. It should not be consumed. Crews are working to flush the discolored water from the system. Anyone experiencing water is advised to fill out a 311 form. What type of repair will be necessary and how long will it take? It will take to complete will be determined once the water is off and engineers can assess the damage. Roadway closures in the area can be anticipated for several days. All right. I do want to touch on something. Let me see. Let me see something. The baby's entourage. Entourage arrested. Okay. So let's see. We are going to. All right. All right. Okay. So the baby entourage rapper Wisdom arrested for attempted murder in Miami shooting. A rapper named Wisdom, who cops say is a part of the baby's entourage, has been arrested for attempted murder with a deadly weapon and aggravated assault with a firearm. Police docs obtained by TMZ say Wisdom was a part of a group of males who got in an argument with the alleged victim outside of a Miami restaurant. Cops say the victims tried to run, but Wisdom fired at least one shot, striking one of the victims in the leg. Another man, Christopher Urena, was also arrested on a series of charges, including attempted murder. Cops say Urena was seen shooting one of the victims in the back. That man is still hospitalized in critical condition and said to be paralyzed. Yes, this is terrible. This is terrible, terrible news right here. Um, the rapper's attorney Drew Finding tells TMZ Mr. Kirk has been released by the police. No criminal charges have been filed against him. Dababy is being questioned by Miami police following a shooting late Monday night that left two people injured. One critically, TMZ has learned. Law enforcement tells us cops interviewed the rapper as part of their investigation into the incident, which went down near several popular Miami Beach restaurants just before midnight. We're told detectives are actively following leads in the shooting. And though several people were initially detained, so far no arrests have been made. Anyone with possible info is urged to contact Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers at 305-401 TIPS. Our sources say one of the shooting victims has been treated at the hospital and released, but the other remains hospitalized and is listed in critical condition. Earlier this year, TMZ was the first to report that Dababy was arrested in Beverly Hills for allegedly carrying a loaded firearm. We've reached out to the rapper's team, no word back yet. Oh boy. This is just beyond. This is unbelievable, man. This is just unbelievable. Hold on. I'm gonna get my thoughts together on this. Let me get my thoughts on this shit. Okay. You know how there's people who do careless things. You have people who have an entourage who decides to do something very, very crazy as far as an attempt to an attempted murder to someone. It's just beyond ridiculous. Why would you do that? I don't know. It's beyond me. The issue is not to take what Wendy Williams said earlier as far as Dababy sometimes getting into trouble and stuff, but you know she's right. Like how many times Dababy have been in trouble allegedly? How many times he's always been in trouble and then having people back him up and stuff? But there's gonna be a point in time that you know people are gonna basically turn their back on him because they don't want to be a part of that mess. So, so let me just say this though. If you're gonna go to Miami, Florida for an event and you want to have a good time, make sure you check your partner's bag. So he or another person don't even think about bringing a weapon to cause a ruckus. All right. And you know what? Hold on. That's gonna do it for this episode. I like to say, um, even though my co-host is not here, I am doing the best I can to actually, gather things up as far as anything goes with their situation. I will try to reach back to see what's going on with them, but in any particular case right here, there is another story I want to do actually. Hold on, before I even conclude this, so I can actually figure something out with the actually, let me see. There's let me see. Hold on, folks. Just bear with me. Just bear with me. Hip hop news today. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Let me see. This is quite interesting. All right. So Hip Hop DX. So Timberland confronts Swizz Beats over Justin Timberlake Black Culture comments. Timberland and Swizz Beats kicked off their versus rematch over Memorial Day weekend, and the iconic producers lived up to the hype. One of the most talked about moments came when Swizz Beats called out Justin for his lack of support of Black culture. Swizz's comments about Justin taking from Black culture and not giving back has been a topic of discussion since the pop singer dropped his debut solo album Justified in 2002. Now, Tebow is coming to the defense of JT and confronted Swizz about his comments during a post-show live stream with Hip Hop and More. You did went a little hard on my brother JT, though, Timberland said of the touchy situation from Sunday night. You went too hard, man. Swizz took the opinion with stride and explained to Timberland and fans that he had to call out Justin. Look, man, I had to go hard, Swizz told Timberland. Did you hear how them songs were sounding on that stage? You and JT, it was like JT was in the building. I was like, man, although he felt he had to aggressively let JT know the versus audience was waiting. Swizz made sure to explain it's all love at the end of the day. I don't got no problem with JT, Swizz added. Don't got no problem with nobody. Shout out to JT. We can't wait to get you on stage having fun because you deserve it too. Justin Timberlake's possible involvement with Versus began back in January when Timberland revealed during an interview on ESPN's Jalen and Jacoby that Drake wants to see him go up against Usher. It's so funny. Drake hit me up too about it. He said, "We gotta make that happen." I'm like, soon to come, soon to come, Timberland said. Well, I did not really see any. Wow. Okay. My point about this, even though I have missed it actually, so I didn't get a chance to watch it per se. But as far as Swizz Beats going hard on JT about the Black culture and stuff, look, man. Sometimes there's a time and a place for everything. And this one right here, to basically go harder at Justin Timberlake, okay, we know that he's white. We know the basics of what's the discussion. We know that. But I do want to say this though. You can't really force to change a person's mind just because of you know such and such dispute. I mean, if you really want to think about it though, man, I mean that Justin Timberlake was Timbaland's protege for the Crimea River video. And I do remember this because I do remember the Crimea River video years ago when it came out. It was actually pretty good though. But you know what though? Let's wrap this up right here. That's gonna do it for off the Meatrack Chainz New York podcast 37. I did wanted to add a last minute 2 stories to it so I could make it over an hour. So check this out. If you like what you heard, all you gotta do is show some love by making a generous donation to my Cash App, which is $G Money Stacks 555. That's $GMoneyStackz 555. And another way you could make a donation is to my PayPal, and that's paypal.me/G Money Stacks 555, Queens, New York. Now, let's go to the streaming platforms on the go, shall we? Hold on. All right. Here are some ways that you can listen to the episodes in case you missed any of them on streaming platforms on the go. And when I say these streaming platforms, I want y'all to make sure to subscribe. And I'll get to it. I'll get to that. So you can listen to all the Meatrack Chainz New York podcast episodes on Podorama. You have Anchor, Spotify, Audio Burst, Deezer, TuneIn plus Alexa, Player FM, Podchaser. And speaking of Podchaser, when you go to the Podchaser link in the link tree /G Money Stacks 555, be sure you click on the Podchaser link and give a 5-star rating by showing some love of what you thought about the episodes, the topics, and what we should do better. You get the gist of it. Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Podcast Addict, Breaker, Listen Notes, Google Podcasts. And don't forget to listen to Off the Meatrack Chainz New York podcast episodes on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, the #1 app for podcasting, and last but not least, the YouTube. I need y'all to do y'all part by subscribing to my YouTube channel, G Money Stacks 555. Be sure to enable alerts so you could be reminded of when the show goes on the air live. Click the notification bell so you could keep up with the upcoming episodes, previous recorded episodes. Be sure to like, be sure to comment on the episodes with the topics. Be sure to what else? Share the podcast along with audio streaming platforms with your friends. And like I said before, don't forget to show some love with a 5-star rating on Podchaser So don't forget. Um, what else? What else? Okay. You can also follow the podcast. In case you're wondering, you can also follow the podcast page on Facebook and Instagram, all in one word, which is Off the Meatrack Chainz NY Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, alongside with my Instagram primary handle, which is G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Also, in case you haven't heard, I did create another podcast page, which I will discuss in later future episodes whatsoever. Um the second podcast page I will say is called Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast. I will explain in a future episode, hopefully in mid-June, towards the end. So I will keep you updated on it. So be sure to follow that page, which is Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast. All right. I will discuss what the show is about. So stay tuned. And like I said before, if you would like to be a guest on the show, and you would like an advice on whether it could be anything of what you've been through, all you gotta do is go to this email right here. That way you could send your chain letters that you need advice on, and if you like to be, be a guest on the show, as far as like, interview conversation, whether you are a rapper, singer, video director, music producer, radio personality, podcast host like myself, alongside with, black owned businesses. If you're a black owned business trendsetter that has a business that you would like to have a shout out and be featured on the segment of black owned trendsetter shout outs. I repeat, black owned trendsetter shout outs, which is the segment of where I give a shout out to the black people who have their own businesses. So if you need a shout out on your business venture or what you're doing as far as a merch and everything, I got you free of charge. Because you can't put a price on support. And speaking of support, I'd like to say thank you to all the new listeners out there, especially the ones in areas of Cambria Heights, New York, Queens, and the outer boroughs, all over. That's been rocking with me, since my co-host is doing their own thing, and I don't mind them doing their own thing. So I'm not sure when they'll be back. So you would have to stick around to see which one will come back. So so like I said, thank you everyone for tuning in, rocking with me on Off the Meatrack Chainz New York podcast, episode 37. Yes, episode 37 in the books. So that's 37 episodes in the books so far. And like I said, thank you for tuning in, rocking with me. I'm G Money Stacks. I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. And I know you're looking forward to this weekend coming up. So be safe, mask up, and if you have a dream of what you want to do as a career, don't just do it because it's your purpose. Do it because of what makes you happy. And I say this with a grain of salt. If you have the power to empower somebody into doing something that they are good in, be sure to show moral support and some love. You may not like everything that's going on, but just be there for a person. Just be there for a person, especially if they're going through hard times, whether it's going through anxiety. And like I previously said, you don't have to wait till May for mental health awareness, aka mental health check-in, to actually check on a person to see how they're doing. There's no right time to reach out to a person. Now, of course, there's work related schedules and stuff, but that doesn't mean stop being the best human being and a good friend by reaching out to see where their mind is at. So like I said, man, um G Money Stacks signing out. Peace and one love.